The sun was already warming the quiet streets of Adelaide when three children stepped out of their front door on the morning of January 26, 1966. Jane Beaumont, 9 years old, Arnna Beaumont, 7, and their little brother Grant, just 4, carried towels under their arms and coins in their pockets. They waved goodbye to their mother, promising they would be back by lunchtime. It was supposed to be a simple trip, a short bus ride to Glenelg Beach, a few hours in the water, and then home again. But that promise would become one of the most painful echoes in Australian history. The Beaumont children had taken the bus alone before. Their parents trusted them. Glenelg Beach was familiar. It was a place filled with families, ice cream stands, and the steady sound of waves rolling onto the sand. Nothing about that morning felt dangerous. Nothing hinted that it would be the last time they would ever be seen. Witnesses later recalled seeing the three siblings playing near the shoreline. They were laughing, splashing in the water, building sandcastles, but they were not alone. A tall, thin man with fair hair was with them. He appeared relaxed, friendly, and calm. He spoke easily with the children, helped them change out of their wet clothes, and walked alongside them as if he belonged there. No one thought twice about him. He looked like a father, an uncle, or simply a friendly adult enjoying the day. Later, Jane walked into a nearby bakery. She bought pastries using a large banknote. This detail would later terrify investigators. The children had left home with only a small amount of change. Someone had given her that money. Someone had already gained her trust. By early afternoon, the Beaumont home was quiet. The children had not returned. Their mother, Nancy, assumed the bus might be late. She waited. Minutes turned into hours. Fear slowly replaced patience. By evening, the police were notified. What followed was one of the largest search operations Australia had ever seen. Police, volunteers, and soldiers scoured Glenelg Beach and the surrounding areas. They searched parks, abandoned buildings, nearby neighbourhoods, and stretches of coastline. Helicopters circled above. Divers combed the waters. Posters bearing the smiling faces of Jane, Arnna, and Grant were distributed across the country. The nation watched in disbelief as days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months. No trace of the children was ever found. As the years passed, the Beaumont case became something more than an investigation. It became a wound that never healed. Parents began warning their children about strangers. The sense of innocence that once defined Australian childhood quietly disappeared. The Beaumont children were no longer just names. They were symbols of a safety that had been lost. Suspects emerged over the decades. One of the most discussed was Harry Phipps, a local man known to frequent Glenelg Beach. He had a reputation for inappropriate behaviour and a history that raised serious concerns. Shortly after the disappearance, he was questioned by police. He denied involvement, and there was not enough evidence to charge him, but whispers followed him for years. Decades later, claims surfaced that he had made disturbing statements about the children before his death. Still, without physical proof, his role could never be confirmed. Another man, James O'Neill, would later become linked to a series of violent crimes against children in South Australia. Some investigators believed his movements and behaviour matched details from the Beaumont case. Once again, suspicion grew. Once again, answers remained just out of reach. Nancy Beaumont never stopped waiting. She kept her children's rooms unchanged for years. Their clothes stayed folded. Their beds remained made. She believed that one day someone would knock on her door with the truth. She gave interviews, pleaded with the public, and held on to hope long after others had accepted the possibility that her children might never return. Her husband Jim stood beside her, sharing the same quiet agony. In 2018, more than 50 years after the disappearance, hope flickered again. Investigators announced a new excavation at a former factory site in Adelaide, once owned by Harry Phipps. New technology and fresh tips had pointed to the land as a possible burial location. Ground-penetrating radar scanned the soil. Heavy machinery and forensic teams carefully removed layers of earth. For days, the world watched. Nothing was found. Once again, silence answered a question that had been asked for half a century. Today, the Beaumont Children case remains officially unsolved. No arrests, no remains, no final explanation, and yet it refuses to fade. New generations discover the story and ask the same haunting questions. Who was the man on the beach? Why did the children trust him? Where did he take them? What really happened after they left the sand behind? Somewhere, someone knows. Someone knows the truth about what happened on that bright summer day in 1966. And until that person speaks, the Beaumont children will remain frozen in time, 3 smiling faces, forever walking toward a beach they never came back from. Their disappearance changed a nation. It changed how parents raised their children. It changed how people thought about safety. And it left behind a mystery that continues to whisper through the decades, asking the same question over and over again. What really happened to Jane, Arnna, and Grant Beaumont? If this story moved you, take a moment to like this video and share your thoughts in the comments. Every voice keeps their memory alive, and every share brings the truth one step closer.